Kani kadiga Batisi TV, mat pidang pek yaki kubor baman kasni, belawan rasha pida ka Orange Nissan Loom Sopo near Fire Brigade Shillong, ringkat bat ka eco-friendly enterprise, ki plakot nagbenta ki Jingjyllei hakasong bat kara karong.
Kesorkar Jylla kelas sedang Pyntreikam mentaya ke drugs policy arajar arpo naduk ke arpesan tarik ujeliau arajar arpo nak bentaban Tehlakam ya ke Jingjyllei jong Drok ke jing penrung yo Drok sepok ke Jylla bat ban penduna ya ke jingma ki baap ya gitu ki beriau ki bala kerni hauniu jing di buat. Ya kini la pentip daka Assistant Director Jengatanat Social Welfare ka kong IK War haka jing rakhi ya ka International Day Against Drugs and Illicit Trafficking ka balalong haka arpun retorik benai jeliu arajar arpo ya ka bala penlong daka Meghalaya Legal Services Authority halor kapang Better Knowledge for Better Care. Ka kong IK War ka lai ru bagani ka policy ka kren ru halor ka Jingjyllei bantau ya ki komiti beper haka Jylla hagi district hagi block marhagi shnong ki tau na ka bantaban Tehlakam bat ban penduna ya ka jing thiet yo Drok ka jing shalan Drok bat ban penduna ya ka jingma ba ap ya ki nong di Drok. Hagani kasngi la yo jing kren ru nau SP ka East Kazales District uba S Nong Tenger ubala ai jing tip halor ki kies bala pengat haga ain Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act khat khandai spa prapusan nakabentau snem arjar khat khandai arajar arpo bat kumju ru la yo jing kren nau Member Secretary jong Meghalaya Legal Services Authority Unur Ain Khan ubala kren bat batai benia halor ka kendon ain jong Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act khat khandai spa Prapusan.
Arrested 87 and cases registered for the year 2020 till date. So far cases 13 registered and type of drug seized this year. Ganja 6.24 kg approximately, heroin 128.88 grams approximately, Gamma tablets 1 lakh tablets weight 10.114 kg and 30 packets weight 0.622 kg. Persons arrested total 25. Registered for the year 2019 total 52 cases. Active brand seized in 2019 ganja 946 kg 64 grams, heroin 5 kg. Cases registered for the year 2020. Total 13 cases registered. Type of drug seized in the year 2020 till date. Ganja 6.24 kg approximately. Heroin 178.8 grams approximately. Gamma tablets 1 lakh tablets weight 10.174 kg. And 30 packets weigh 0.622 kg. Persons arrested 25. How many remand?
So actually most of the police stations and the ALD have said about the matter. In fact, we have to handle drug users with kid gloves, sir, because immediately they go into suffering, they go into craving, they go into body ache, pains and all that. So the question of assault is out of the question. Probably in the preceding years when addicts were looked upon as criminals, these cases were there. But now it's almost not there because in fact when a drug user is brought to the police station, in fact the IO or the police personnel who are handling him are more apprehensive, because something can happen to him. A lot of sensitivity is there. We are now looking at a lot of people know that he's not a criminal but a patient who actually is suffering, and acts committed are a consequence of the drug intake. So what we do is that most times when a drug user is arrested or seizure is made from him, after that the action is sending him straight for judicial custody, because always there will be a problem. He will there will be seizures in the thana, he will develop seizures, he will faint. So there was an instance also in one district where 2 people actually hanged themselves because they were craving so much for drugs, and it leaves us also in jeopardy because that is the tantamount to custodial death. So immediately when a person is brought and we see that this person is sick, we actually contact VHAM for substitute drugs, send him to court immediately 24 hours, send him to judicial custody, treatment is sent from jail. all the investigation procedures are done thereafter, statement recording. Of course, seizures and all are done on the spot and all that, but taking care of the drug user is of utmost importance. But our biggest challenge right now is that the number is geometrically rising, and this geometric progression of figures has also caused a lot of social unrest, from the family level to the social level at a more broader level. And we can see that there's a spurt in crime against property. The number of burglary cases is rising every day, and the spread of narcotics has taken on huge proportions. We just 10 years back, there were only few districts in the state which were affected, say East Giant Hills or West Giant Hills and East Khas Hills, or maybe a bit of West Khas Hills. But now you can see that so many other districts are affected. So the spread of drugs the geometric progression of drugs is huge. And now we need to find out strategies how to arrest this problem, because this is not a police problem, it's become a social problem. And this starts at the level of the family. We are seeing, that's why our target now, our emphasis now is on the youth. We are reaching out to the youth because they are the ones actually who will get into it. And how do they get into it is because probably they would be depressed, dejected, demotivated. These are the things we actually need to reach out to the youth. Have a more supportive system, have a more positive attitude. Sometimes when they feel demotivated, then they get into something with some momentary pleasure. And then 3 months down the line, then they become users. And from users, 1 year down the line, then they become the peddlers. And it just goes on and on, the vicious cycle. So these are the challenges we face. And the offshoot of that is crime against property. We have even few between kidnapping cases because of narcotics. We have cartel cases because of narcotics. We have assault cases because of narcotics. Then we have family, domestic issues because of narcotics. So we have challenges galore. Thank you, sir.
The theme of the webinar is better knowledge for better care. Now we had all the stakeholders speaking on this occasion, and after deliberation with all these stakeholders, the police, the social welfare department, the philanthropic NGOs, at least we have understood the problems faced by those people who are into the job. And through this webinar and discussions, we had learned that the drug policy for the state of Meghalaya has been approved by the cabinet, and it is only when we get the copy of the drug policy we'll understand that how do we go about. And then there has been a lot of concern shown for people, for addicts who have been manhandled by group of people, because we know as on date nobody thinks that drug addicts or addiction or drug abuse is a kind of a disease. So society as a large, they have to understand that these drug addicts are victims and they are not to be manhandled. They require the support of the society to see that they can get away with this menace. So we hope that we'll have many more programs of this nature, and at least from this we are in a better position to understand the state of affair of the drug addicts in the state. Now, after discussions, we have understood that what is the affair, the difficulties of the challenges of the drug abusers, and the response way forward for these drug users in Meghalaya, and then the problem faced by the addicts. The various challenges faced by the drug abusers are that they're being manhandled, they've been ostracized, the society they don't accept, they have been left alone. So we need to take care of them. And then we find that even one of the most important challenges is that they don't have too many rehab centers, and those rehab centers which has been run by some private NGOs, they find very difficult to run, because most of the localities, they don't give them space to run these rehabs, because drug is not looked as some kind of a taboo. So these are the challenges they face. Rehab, and then of course there is a talk about setting up a rehab by the government for those people, marginalized people. You see, the irony is this: is that drug abusers. Usually, drugs is very expensive, but then we find that large chunk of people are involved in this drug abuse. Then, if you see the chain, from where do they get the money? So that is why we always say that the drug abuse leads to crime. In order to get money, these people who come from marginalized section of society, they commit crime in order to sustain their needs for drugs. But once they are apprehended or once they have been detected, they don't have such means for treatment, for detoxification. So the government needs to have rehab centers. In Meghalaya, we don't have too many private centers. There are some people, they are doing it. This, like we had in numbers, I cannot tell you precisely the numbers, but then we have few private. But then of course we need more. Well, we had a meeting. The SP had given about the number of cases being registered, amount of drugs which has been seized. Now we ask a number of people who have been arrested. I think I will just furnish you the number of people arrested in connection with the drugs cases. Now, so far as people who are involved in trafficking of drugs, which involves intermediate quantity, commercial quantity, is concerned, law takes care of those people. The matter of concern is those people who are addicts. The first and the most important steps is that all those law enforcing agencies, people who are responsible to take care of those addicts, and the people in the investigating agencies, all the stakeholders, we need to coordinate. We need to sensitize them. We need to understand that there is a problem here. We need to work, and then we can move way forward. This is the first step: is that we just put our head together, and then at least acknowledge that this is a serious problem. We need to work and put our head. So that's what we are doing, and this is just the beginning. Drug addiction or drug abuse is a social problem. It starts with the family. You see, it starts with the family, then it touches the society. So, headman, who is the responsible man of the locality, certainly he plays a very important role. He knows who comes in the locality, who goes in the locality, what are the young boys doing in the locality, if things are going wrong in the locality. So he's the best person to, at least keep on informing the police, and then at the same time, if you have some people, keep on, educating them. So they need to be sensitized, and at the same time, they need to be sensitized that these drug addicts are no other than part of their society. So they need to be very kind to them. There have been cases where the drug addicts have been manhandled in the locality by mob, beaten up by mob. So these things has to stop, and it has to start at the level of the headman.